Hi there, it's Miss Hardy again. I'm talking a little bit more about how to make better presentations with Google Slides. Now, one thing that comes up a lot with students, especially working in groups, someone will accidentally delete a bunch of slides. Oops, oops, oops. So knowing how to undo is very helpful. The shortcut for that is Control Z on your Chromebook. It's Command Z on a Mac. But if I do Control Z, you'll see that all of the slides that accidentally got deleted can be undone. It does have to be the person who accidentally deleted it will have to be the person to hold down the Control Z or press the undo button, which is up here in the top left-hand corner, undo and redo on your toolbar. The last way, if you don't know when the issue happened, say it was earlier in the class, you're not sure, or maybe it was yesterday, the version history is up here under File. And I go to Version History and then See Version History. The version history shows up on the right-hand side of the page. And it tells me on February 22nd at 3:09 that Colleen Hardy edited it. It's me. If this is a group, it would show more names and the colors. So you can see that this color, I added this. It's circled in that particular color. So that means Colleen Hardy did it. If it was someone else, they'd have a different color, and it would box the changes that they made for you. Say on February 22nd, you're like, no, it's something else. You can open up using these little triangles, open up more detailed versions. You can find the version you're looking for, and you can restore this version. Once you do that, any changes that you made after the fact will have to be redone. So keep that in mind, but if there's something major that happened and you aren't sure when, version history can help you out. Okay, the second thing that I want to talk about is applying a layout to a slide. You can change the layout of a slide by selecting it and going up here. Notice that when I change my slot, if I click a slide, I have one toolbar up at the top, versus if I pick a text box, my toolbar changes, versus a picture, it changes once again. So on applying a layout to a slide, if you select a slide, you can just go right here to the Apply Layout, and you can change the layout of your slide this way. If you want to add a new slide, you can do so with the shortcuts up here as well. The plus button will just give you a blank slide, or you can do new slide with the layout by clicking the little minus button, and you can insert a slide. These will change based on the template you have. Finally, it's good to know how to add more fonts or use fonts well. You can build a collection of font if you would like. You need to select text. And once I select this text, I get the font bar. You can add more as well by hitting Add More Fonts. And notice that there's little check marks next to some of these fonts. This goes on for a long, long time. Don't get too lost in this. It's definitely a rabbit hole. But say I really like News Cycle, and I want to add that. I can click next to it on the left and say I like Josephine too. So now I've selected those two, and when I hit OK, then you will see there's Josephine in my fonts. So you can add fonts that way. Do be careful. Font is not the only thing that's important. Remember, the size of the font is important. If you're going below 18, chances are someone in the back of the room is not going to be able to see that or not be able to read it very well. So make sure that your fonts are, I would say, at least 18 or larger, maybe even 24. And be careful that your text doesn't go over your pictures. Notice that it's almost impossible for anybody to read this, especially if they were in the back of the room, once you start putting your text over your pictures. So be careful with that. Say you're on a page like this, and you have an issue because your text is running into your picture. What you can do is, once you get the blue box, look on the sides and the corners. This is how you manipulate the text box. So, and notice the mouse changes too. If the mouse looks like a crosshair like this, you move the whole text box. I'm going to undo, Command Z. If you have to have just the arrow, and you pull it backwards, and then it will change the size of your text box and keep things from overlapping.